Our society has changed, and being alone is increasingly part of life today. We move away from family and friends. We go to the cities to find work, to have a career.
You're living the dream, you're working hard, you're playing hard, and while those things are true, you're not necessarily happy. And you feel like you just constantly need to be at the top of your game. I am a bit of a type A, where I busy myself and I want to sort of achieve.
Hi, yeah, absolutely. You've come through to the communications team.
And that can be a nice feeling sometimes, but it can also be very, very lonely.
Announcement, and then obviously we'll have our key spokespeople on the ground as well as representatives from each of the regions to come in and be available for media.
I've lived in London for 5 years and I would still certainly have absolute moments of loneliness for sure. In fact, it almost feels like it's getting progressively stronger. I kept saying to my parents, well, next Christmas I'll be home. Now I'm 30 and now I just don't say. I say, I'm here for the foreseeable. I absolutely have days where I feel really sad, and I do odd things such as get on Google Maps and like drive myself around the city, and I check in to see my parents' house in New Zealand. It does make me feel, oh, okay, everything is, they're still there, and that is still my home. Often I would think, what do I have to be lonely about? I have a fantastic job, I'm surrounded by people, I live in London, I mean there are just so many people here. It's difficult to admit you're lonely to other people, but I think one of the other key things you don't necessarily consider is it's really hard to admit it to yourself. And it does take a while to, I guess, kind of click in your head, oh okay, I think I'm lonely. And nobody puts on Facebook, I've just spent the whole weekend inside eating 10 packs of hobnobs and watching Friends. People put how great and glamorous their lives are.
That was published recently, and your daughter is here.
Everyone posts the best of the highlights reel on social media, and the highlights reel is not real at all.
Catherine, let's start with you, and what is your evidence that loneliness is more prevalent today?
To fill the gap in her life, Kylie joined a charity that organises monthly tea parties for lonely over 75-year-olds.
I've been volunteering for 3 years with Contact the Elderly. That has been a key part for sure of making me feel more connected to London, making me feel more at home. And it does provide some semblance of family. I was very close to my grandmother in New Zealand and she passed away. I think it does fill that sort of void. Do you like a hand cutting and buttering the scone? Or would you like a serviette?
I would like a serviette.
Of course. The volunteers get just as much out of the charity as the elderly sort of lonely guests. And I wish I'd found the charity as soon as I got to London, because it would have made the first 2 years a lot easier.
Kylie's loneliness isn't just caused by being far away from her family.
I moved over to London with my long-term partner. We got married and we've recently separated. He has made the decision to go back to New Zealand and I want to stay in London. I definitely feel a lot more lonely now. It's really hard. Times like Christmas and anniversaries and things like that.
Tea parties, good.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. The tea parties have been really, really helpful because sometimes Sundays are quite hard too, but you have that to pull you out of the hole that you're in, and they remind you as well that life, goes on, and these times things will pass.
And she can see and hear and she talks to me on the phone all the time.
Why I like the two parties, because of not for the tea, not